Hello, friends from the interweb. Thidumgamer here with another card game playthrough review. This game is Creature Features. It is the Kickstarter edition that I have. Already did the unboxing video for the game, but I wanted to go through after I'd played a couple times with my family and give you my thoughts on the gameplay. Now, to begin with, every player, and let's go ahead and set all the face-up cards aside, don't worry about those. Every player will be dealt out 9 cards in this formation. The cards are face down. Then every player will be dealt out a hand of 3 cards apiece. Players will take turns doing one of multiple different things each turn. And the goal of the game is to have the most complete creature, doesn't matter if it's all the same monster type, but have the most complete creature when the switch is thrown. Once the switch is thrown, the game round is done, and whoever has the most complete creature wins a point. Gameplay itself, it's not a bad game. It does take a little bit of getting used to, and it does take up quite a bit of room. As you can see, my whole screen's taken up with just one player set up here. But it is a fun game. I have played multiple times with my family, and they have enjoyed it immensely. One other thing I forgot to mention is depending on the number of players you have, depends on how many monsters you choose. Let's see here. 2-player game, you choose 4 of the creatures in the box. 3-player game, 5 creatures. And then the nice thing about the Kickstarter exclusive is it did come with an extra creature. So if you did want to play a 4-player game, you can put down 7 creatures and play a 4-player game. I do believe there's 7 in here. There are 2 different sets, Creature Features and then Creature Features sci-fi alien type game, and you can mix and match. Now once the game starts, again, each player will take one of multiple different actions. First of all, they can either place a part on their creature. So if you have, say, the head in your card hand, in your hand, you go ahead and place it on the head of your creature. And the nice thing is up in the top left corner, it shows the creature setup. And what is marked in red is where you place that part on your creature. You go ahead and place that part, and you'll take the card out from underneath of it and put that into your hand. That's one action you can do. Another action you can do is replace a part card. And with that, you replace any card in your hand with the same card currently played face up in the laboratory. So let's say we have another head. We have a head face up, but I want the mummy head. So I will go ahead and play the mummy head, taking back the Frankenstein head, and you'll immediately place the old part card into the discard pile. You do follow the special action, and I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that when you play a card. Follow the special action that is on the card. And each card part has a different special action, such as the head shows to show your entire hand to the other fiends. So you will show your hand to the other players. So we played a part, we've replaced a part. You can summon lightning. If you have a lightning in your hand, you can play that card at any time. The nice thing about Summon the Lightning is you earn 1 creature point in your lab at the end of the round. No matter who has the most cohesive creature, you will always get at least 1 point. You can also take, instead of those actions, you can take 2 actions right here, which is you can draw a card from the draw pile. And if that causes you to have more than 3 cards in your hand, you'll go ahead and discard one of the cards into the discard pile. You can take the top card visible from the discard pile. Again, just like drawing a card, an unknown card, if you have more than 3 cards in your hand, you have to discard. You can swap any card in your hand with a face-down card in the laboratory. So instead of switching out a shown part, you can take this card and swap it out for a face-down card. And, of course, you take that face-down card and put it into your hand. And finally, another action that you can take, and it doesn't count as part of the 2, you can throw the switch and bring the creatures to life. Now, you can only play throw the switch card if you have, well, as it says on the card, there has to be a fiend with 4 or more parts out, and a lightning must have already been played somewhere. You don't have to have played the lightning, but it does have to have been played. And then from there, you'll go ahead and tally up who has the most points for that round. Each card part has a number of points that it is worth. Well, I'm sorry to use points. Each card part has a score that it is worth, such as this arm is worth 1, or let's see here. This is the left arm. The left arm is worth 1 point, or one score. The head is worth 3, and you'll tally up and decide who has the highest score. You'll get an additional score point depending on if your creature is made up from the most of the same creature parts. So if your creature is made up, say, 4 Frankenstein's monster parts, and everybody else is a hodgepodge, doesn't have more than 2, you'll get an additional point. Whoever scores the highest each round will get 1 point towards their total score. And the first player to get 10 total points towards their score wins the game. Like I said, that's why I didn't like using this as points. It's just a normal score to determine who wins the point. Gameplay, I will be honest with you, the gameplay does take about 30 minutes to play. It's not a bad game. It's definitely an easy game once you've gone through and played it a few times to understand the rules and try to develop your strategy for how you're going to play. Are you going to go for a, Frankenstein monster creature, or are you just going to throw every creature part you can to get the switch thrown to begin with at first? Definitely, like I said, a very fun game. Family has enjoyed it when they have played it, as did I. I did a couple playthroughs myself, just by myself, to see how the flow went. Age range, while these may be classic monsters, they're not really that scary. So age range, 7 and up, again, as it's not due to the artwork, it's due to understanding the rules and the gameplay. So if you have a child that plays a lot of games, 7 and up would probably be a good age range. Replayability, you get to mix and match your monsters. Definitely replayable. Every game is different. You don't have a person who, I know I've got to go for Frankenstein's monster each time because that's how I'm going to win. No, gameplay is different every time. So definitely a replayable game. Overall, did enjoy this. Difficulty level, 3.5. Just because there's so many different actions that you can take during your turn, and trying to remember and trying to decide which action will benefit you the best. A little bit more difficult than some other games, but by no means a 5. It is not a hard game to pick up. It's just trying to decide what you're going to do each round. And it does become easier to decide as you played more games. Definitely recommend checking this out if you get a chance. Again, this is Creature Features. It is from Deeply Dapper Games, which website right there, and I'll go ahead and put that in my description below as well, but deeplydappergames.com. And again, you do have two choices. You can play, or you can pick up the classic monsters one, or the aliens, the sci-fi space aliens one, and they do mix and match. And the big benefit about having an extra box is to be able to play with more players. I wouldn't recommend more than 4 players. Again, just a very large setup game, so unless you have a huge table. And if you've ever played the card game Dominion, it's one of those, yeah, you could have more than 4 players, but at that point it's taking so long in between each player's turn that people get, especially as they're younger, get rather bored rather quickly. So I wouldn't recommend over a 4-player game if you have multiple copies of this, or the 2 different types that they have. But it definitely could be played with more than 4 players. It looks like the rule of thumb is for every player, after the first 2, you just add 2 more monsters. But again, with the one box I got from Kickstarter, with that extra monster, you can play a 4-player. It's just that you cycle through cards a little quicker than if you had 1 more monster. Definitely enjoyed this game. If you get a chance, check it out. And again, just check out deeplydappergames.com. Well, I do want to thank you as always. If you have enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you like the content, want to see more content like this, definitely hit subscribe. I try to release a video about once a week, usually on the weekend. And if you have friends that you think might enjoy this video as well, or this type of content, definitely let them know. Have them check it out. Do hope you enjoy your upcoming week, and I hope to see you next week.